Success. What if I told you that the most powerful person in the room is usually the one who speaks the least? While everyone else is fighting for attention, success. Explaining themselves and trying to be heard, there is one person quietly observing, quietly learning, and quietly winning. History, psychology, success, and human behavior all reveal the same surprising truth: silence is not weakness, it is power. And by the end of this speech, success, you'll understand why some of the most respected, influential, and unforgettable people rarely need to raise their voice. More importantly, success, you'll discover how quiet power can completely transform the way people see and treat you. Success. Have you ever noticed that the person who talks the most is not always the person people respect the most? In fact, success. Some of the most influential individuals in any room are often the ones who speak the least. They don't compete for attention. They don't interrupt conversations. Success. They don't feel the need to prove their intelligence every few minutes. Yet somehow, when they finally speak, everyone listens. This is the hidden power of silence. Success. Silence creates presence, and presence creates influence. Most people spend their lives believing that attention must be earned through constant communication. Success. They think they must always have something to say, always have an opinion, and always be visible. As a result, they fill every empty space with words. Success. They explain themselves too much. They defend themselves too quickly. They reveal their plans before taking action. Success. What they don't realize is that every unnecessary word reduces the impact of the words that truly matter. Success. Think about a crowded room where everyone is talking at the same time. Voices overlap. Opinions collide. People compete to be heard. Then suddenly, success. One person remains calm and silent. Instead of speaking, they observe. Instead of reacting, they listen. Instead of seeking attention, they create curiosity. Success. Human psychology is naturally drawn to what it cannot immediately understand. When someone constantly speaks, people quickly figure them out. Success. But when someone chooses silence, people begin wondering what they are thinking. Curiosity is born, and curiosity is one of the strongest forms of attention. Success. The silent person understands something that most people never learn. Power is not measured by how much you say. Success. Power is measured by how much influence your words carry when you finally decide to speak. Imagine two individuals. One talks continuously for an hour. Success. The other remains quiet and only speaks twice. Which person's words are more likely to be remembered? In most cases, it is the second person. Success. Their words carry weight because they are rare. Their silence gives value to their voice. This principle appears everywhere in life. In business meetings, success. The individual who listens carefully often gains more information than the person who dominates the discussion. In relationships, success. The person who remains emotionally controlled often appears stronger than the person who reacts to every situation. In leadership, success. The calm and thoughtful leader frequently earns more respect than the leader who constantly demands attention. Many people misunderstand silence. Success. They assume silence means weakness, insecurity, or lack of confidence. But true silence is not fear. True silence is control. Success. There is a significant difference between someone who remains quiet because they are afraid and someone who remains quiet because they are disciplined. One is hiding. Success. The other is observing. One is powerless. The other is choosing where to direct their energy. Consider how often people reveal their emotions through unnecessary words. Success. When they feel threatened, they argue. When they feel ignored, they complain. When they feel uncertain, they explain themselves repeatedly. Success. But the person who possesses quiet power understands that not every challenge deserves a response. Not every criticism deserves attention. Success. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Sometimes the strongest response is maintaining your composure while everyone else loses theirs. Success. Silence also creates an aura of confidence because it demonstrates comfort with oneself. Most people fear silence because silence feels uncomfortable. Success. They rush to fill empty moments because they worry about how others perceive them. But a confident individual does not fear silence. Success. They are comfortable allowing a pause to exist. They understand that silence is not an enemy, it is a tool. It allows them to think before speaking, observe before acting. Success. And understand before judging. There is another reason quiet people command attention. They make others feel heard. In a world where everyone wants to speak, success, very few people truly listen. When someone feels genuinely listened to, they naturally develop respect and trust toward the listener. Success. The silent person often gains influence not because they speak brilliantly, but because they understand deeply. They gather information that others miss. Success. They notice patterns that others overlook. They understand motivations that others never see. Success. The irony is that many people chase attention while the silent person attracts it effortlessly. The louder someone becomes, success, the harder they often need to work to keep people's attention. but the quiet individual creates a sense of mystery. Their restraint becomes memorable. Success. Their presence becomes noticeable. Their words become valuable because they are not wasted. Every time you resist the urge to speak unnecessarily, success, you strengthen your presence. Every time you choose observation over reaction, you gain information. Every time you remain calm while others become emotional, success, you increase your influence. Quiet power is not about withdrawing from the world. Success. It is about understanding that attention earned through wisdom lasts far longer than attention earned through noise. Success. The silent person understands that respect is not demanded through volume, confidence is not measured through constant talking, success and influence is not created by being the loudest voice in the room. It is created by becoming the person whose words matter because they are supported by thought, self-control, and purpose. Success. Have you ever wondered why some people always seem to know exactly what is happening around them? They notice changes before anyone else. They recognize hidden intentions. Success. They can predict behavior, understand emotions, and avoid mistakes that trap everyone else. It is not because they are smarter than everyone around them. Success. It is because they have mastered a skill that most people ignore. They have learned the power of observation. The modern world rewards speaking, posting, reacting, success, and expressing opinions. Every day, people rush to share what they think before they fully understand what is happening. Success. They enter conversations already preparing their response instead of listening to what is actually being said. Success. They focus so much on being heard that they forget the value of paying attention. This is where the silent person gains an advantage. While others are busy talking, success, they are collecting information. While others are trying to impress, they are learning. While others are focused on being noticed, they are focused on understanding. Success. Observation is one of the most powerful forms of intelligence because information is everywhere. People reveal their true character every single day. Success. But most individuals miss it because they are distracted. Someone may tell you one thing with their words and something completely different with their actions. Success. Someone may claim to be confident while their behavior reveals insecurity. Someone may promise loyalty while their choices reveal selfishness. Success. The silent observer notices these contradictions because they are not distracted by noise. They are paying attention to patterns. Success. Think about how many problems in life could be avoided if people simply observed more carefully. Many individuals trust too quickly because they listen only to promises. Success. Others enter bad relationships because they ignore obvious warning signs. Success. Some make poor business decisions because they react emotionally rather than studying the situation. Success. The ability to observe allows you to see reality as it is rather than as you wish it to be. Success. The most successful people in any field understand that observation creates opportunities. A great leader observes the strengths and weaknesses of their team. Success. A skilled entrepreneur observes market trends before everyone else notices them. A wise friend observes emotional changes in the people they care about. Success. A confident individual observes their own habits and behaviors so they can continue improving. Observation provides information, and information provides power. Success. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that communication is only about speaking. In reality, communication is happening every second. Success, even when no words are exchanged. Facial expressions communicate emotions. Body language communicates confidence or insecurity. Success. Eye contact communicates interest or discomfort. Tone of voice communicates intention. Actions communicate priorities. Success. The silent person learns to read these signals because they spend more time watching than talking. Imagine entering a room where several people are interacting. Success. Most individuals will focus only on the conversation. The observer notices much more. They notice who dominates the discussion and who stays quiet. Success. They notice who listens and who constantly interrupts. They notice who seeks approval and who remains comfortable in their own skin. Success. They notice small details that reveal larger truths. Over time, these observations create a deeper understanding of human behavior. Success. This is why quiet people often appear wise. It is not because they possess secret knowledge. It is because they gather more information before reaching conclusions. Success. They understand that every situation has layers. Every person has motivations. Every decision has consequences. Instead of rushing to judgment, success, they observe long enough to see the complete picture. Observation also protects you from manipulation. Many people are influenced by appearances. Success. They believe confidence equals competence. They assume popularity equals value. They mistake loudness for strength. But careful observers know better. Success. They understand that appearances can be deceiving. They watch what people consistently do rather than what they occasionally say. Success. They focus on behavior because behavior rarely lies. There is another reason observation is so powerful. It allows you to understand yourself. Success. Most people spend their lives analyzing everyone except themselves. They notice the mistakes of others while remaining blind to their own habits. Success. The silent observer turns their attention inward as well. They pay attention to their reactions, their emotions, and their decisions. Success. They ask themselves difficult questions. Why did I react that way? Why did that situation affect me so strongly? What patterns keep appearing in my life? Success. This level of self-awareness becomes a powerful advantage because growth begins with understanding. When you develop the habit of observation, success, the world starts revealing things that were always there but previously invisible. You begin noticing opportunities others overlook. Success. You recognize toxic patterns before they become serious problems. You understand people more clearly. Success. You make decisions with greater confidence because they are based on information rather than assumptions. The person who constantly speaks may feel powerful in the moment, success, but the person who constantly observes gains knowledge that compounds over time. Quiet power is not passive. Observation is not inactivity. Success. It is a deliberate choice to gather information before taking action. It is the discipline to watch before reacting, to understand before judging, success, and to learn before speaking. Every conversation becomes a lesson. Every interaction becomes a source of insight, success. Every experience becomes an opportunity to see something that others miss. While the world races to express itself, success, the observer gains an extraordinary advantage by simply paying attention to what everyone else overlooks. Success. Most people believe strength is about winning arguments, proving others wrong, or showing the world that nothing can hurt them. Success. They imagine powerful individuals as people who dominate every conversation, react quickly to challenges, and never allow anyone to question them. Success. But when you look closely at the people who command the most respect, you discover something surprising. Their greatest strength is not aggression. It is not loudness. Success. It is not intimidation. Their greatest strength is emotional control. Think about how many times emotions have influenced people's decisions. Success. A single moment of anger destroys a friendship that took years to build. A moment of frustration leads someone to quit when success was just around the corner. Success. A moment of insecurity causes a person to seek approval from people who never truly valued them. Emotions are powerful forces, but when they are left unchecked, success, they can quietly take control of a person's life. The silent person understands something that most people learn too late. Every reaction comes with a cost. Success. Every emotional outburst reveals information. Every impulsive decision can create consequences that last far longer than the emotion itself. Yes. This is why emotionally strong individuals do not react immediately. They pause, they think, they assess the situation before deciding how to respond. Success. Imagine two people facing criticism. The first person instantly becomes defensive. They argue, explain, and try to prove that the criticism is unfair. Success. The second person remains calm. They listen carefully. They consider whether the criticism contains any truth. If it does, they learn from it. If it does not, success, they move forward without wasting energy. Which person appears stronger? Which person appears more confident? Success. Most people instinctively respect the second individual because calmness under pressure signals inner strength. Success. One of the greatest misconceptions about emotional control is that it means suppressing feelings. That is not what true emotional control is. Success. Emotionally strong people still experience anger, disappointment, fear, and frustration. They feel emotions just like everyone else. Success. The difference is that they do not allow emotions to become their master. They acknowledge what they feel without surrendering control over their actions. Success. Life constantly tests emotional stability. Someone ignores your message. Someone questions your abilities. Someone betrays your trust. Someone succeeds while you struggle. Success. These situations trigger powerful emotions, and many people react automatically. They become consumed by anger, jealousy, insecurity, or resentment. Success. But the silent person recognizes that emotional reactions often create more problems than the original situation itself. Success. Consider how much energy people waste trying to control things they cannot control. They worry about opinions they cannot change. They obsess over events they cannot undo. Success. They replay conversations that ended days, weeks, or even years ago. Their emotions become prisoners of circumstances beyond their influence. Success. Emotional control begins when a person understands a simple truth: not everything deserves your emotional investment. This realization changes everything. Success. Instead of reacting to every insult, you become selective. Instead of allowing criticism to destroy your confidence, you evaluate it objectively. Success. Instead of chasing validation from others, you build confidence from your own actions and values. Success. Emotional control creates freedom because it reduces the power that external events have over your internal state. Success. People often underestimate how much respect emotional control generates. When everyone around you is panicking, your calmness becomes noticeable. Success. When others lose their temper, your composure becomes memorable. When situations become chaotic, your stability becomes valuable. Leaders, mentors, success, and trusted individuals are rarely chosen because they are the most emotional people in the room. They are chosen because they remain reliable when pressure increases. Success. There is also a hidden psychological advantage to emotional control. When you react emotionally, you give others influence over your behavior. Success. If someone can easily provoke you, they can predict you. If they can predict you, they can manipulate you. But when you remain composed, you become difficult to control. Success. Your decisions come from reason rather than impulse. Your actions come from purpose rather than emotion. Success. The strongest people are often the ones who have endured the greatest challenges. They have faced disappointment, rejection, failure, and uncertainty. Success. Yet instead of allowing those experiences to make them bitter, they use them to build resilience. They learned that life does not always reward emotional reactions. Success. It rewards consistency, discipline, and patience. Emotional control is especially important in moments of success. Many people know how to handle failure, success, but they lose control when they achieve something meaningful. Pride takes over. Ego expands. They become careless because they believe they are untouchable. Success. Emotionally mature individuals remain grounded regardless of circumstances. They understand that success is temporary if it is not supported by discipline. Success. Every day presents opportunities to strengthen emotional control. Every challenge becomes a test. Every frustration becomes a lesson. Success. Every setback becomes a chance to develop resilience. The goal is not to eliminate emotion from your life. Success. The goal is to become stronger than the emotions that attempt to control your decisions. Success. Quiet power is built when you stop allowing temporary feelings to dictate permanent actions. It grows when you choose patience over impulsiveness, wisdom over reaction, success, and self-mastery over emotional chaos. Success. The person who can control themselves possesses a form of strength that no external obstacle can easily defeat, because true power begins the moment you become the master of your own mind. Success. Have you ever noticed that the more available something becomes, the less people seem to appreciate it? This principle applies not only to objects, opportunities, success, and experiences, but also to people. In a world where everyone shares everything, explains everything, and reveals every detail of their lives, success. Mystery has become increasingly rare, and because it is rare, it has become incredibly valuable. The silent person understands this principle. Success. They know that not everything needs to be revealed, not every thought needs to be spoken, and not every plan needs to be announced. As a result, success, they create something powerful without even trying mystery. Human beings are naturally curious. Our minds are designed to search for answers, fill gaps, success, and solve puzzles. When everything is immediately available, curiosity disappears. There is nothing left to discover. But when something remains partially unknown, success, the mind becomes engaged. It begins asking questions. It begins paying attention. This is why mystery captures interest in a way that constant self-disclosure never can. Success. Many people make the mistake of believing that influence comes from revealing everything about themselves. They tell everyone their goals before achieving them. Success. They explain every decision they make. They constantly seek validation by sharing every success, every struggle, and every thought. While openness has its place, success, excessive openness often reduces personal impact. When people know everything about you, there is little left for them to discover. Success. The silent person approaches life differently. They understand that value often increases when information is carefully managed. Success. This does not mean being dishonest or secretive. It means understanding the power of restraint. Success. It means recognizing that some things become stronger when they are protected rather than displayed. Not every ambition needs an audience. Not every dream needs approval. Success. Not every achievement needs immediate recognition. Think about some of the most respected individuals you have encountered. Success. Chances are they did not spend all their time talking about themselves. They did not constantly seek attention. Success. They allowed their actions to speak louder than their words. People became interested in them because there was depth beneath the surface. There was always more to learn. Success. More to discover and more to understand. Mystery also creates a sense of confidence. People who feel the need to explain every action often reveal uncertainty. Success. They want reassurance, they want acceptance, they want others to confirm that they're making the right choices. Success. But individuals with quiet power do not require constant validation. They trust themselves enough to move forward without announcing every step of the journey. Success. Their confidence comes from within rather than from the reactions of others. One of the strongest forms of mystery comes from emotional restraint. Success. When people can easily predict your reactions, they quickly understand how to influence you. If they know exactly what will make you angry, insecure, or defensive, success, they gain a certain amount of control. But when you remain emotionally balanced, people are forced to pay closer attention. They cannot easily predict your next move. Success. They cannot easily manipulate your emotions. Your self-control creates uncertainty, and that uncertainty creates strength. There is another reason mystery increases value. Success. It shifts focus from words to actions. Many people spend so much time talking about what they intend to do that they never actually do it. Success. They receive temporary satisfaction from discussing their plans, and that satisfaction reduces their motivation to act. The silent person avoids this trap. Success. Instead of announcing every goal, they quietly work toward it. Instead of seeking praise for intentions, they earn respect through results. Imagine two individuals. Success. One constantly talks about becoming successful. They tell everyone about their future plans, their big dreams, and the accomplishments they hope to achieve. Success. The other person remains relatively quiet. They focus on improving themselves, developing skills, and taking action. Months later, success. One person still has stories while the other has results. People are naturally drawn to those whose actions reveal more than their words. Success. Mystery also protects your energy. Every time you share a goal, an idea, or a personal struggle, you invite opinions. Some opinions may be helpful. Success. But many will be distractions. Not everyone understands your vision. Not everyone supports your growth. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Success. By keeping certain aspects of your life private, you create space for focus and progress. You reduce unnecessary noise and protect your ability to move forward. Success. The modern world encourages constant visibility. Social media rewards oversharing. Success. Society often pressures people to document every moment and seek approval for every decision. But true confidence does not require an audience. Success. True power does not depend on attention. Some of the most important growth happens in silence, away from recognition and applause. Success. The strongest transformations often occur when nobody is watching. When you learn to embrace mystery. Success. You begin to understand that your value is not determined by how much of yourself you reveal. It is determined by the quality of your character. Success. The consistency of your actions and the depth of your presence. People become interested in what they cannot fully understand. Success. They respect those who do not constantly seek validation. They trust individuals whose actions consistently align with their words. Success. Quiet power grows when you become comfortable keeping certain things for yourself, allowing your results to create the conversation. Success, and understanding that not every part of your journey needs to be explained to the world around you. Success. Take a moment and think about the people who have made the biggest impact on your life. Were they always the loudest people in the room? Success. Were they constantly demanding attention, trying to impress everyone around them and making sure all eyes were on them? In many cases, the answer is no. Success. The people who leave the deepest mark are often those who possess a different kind of strength. They do not rely on noise. They do not depend on popularity. Success. They do not chase attention. They operate from a place of quiet power, and that power has something loud power often lacks: longevity. Success. Loud power can be impressive at first. It attracts attention quickly. It creates excitement. It makes people notice. But attention and respect are not the same thing. Success. Many individuals spend years chasing attention without realizing that attention is temporary. Today's spotlight can become tomorrow's forgotten memory. Success. What truly lasts is respect, trust, consistency, and character. These qualities are rarely built through loudness. They are built through quiet power. Success. The problem with loud power is that it often depends on external validation. People who rely on loud power need constant recognition to maintain their influence. Success. They need applause, approval, and acknowledgement. They feel strong when others are watching, but when the attention disappears, their confidence often disappears with it. Success. Quiet power works differently. It comes from within. It is not dependent on public recognition. It exists whether people notice it or not. Success. Think about a tree growing in a forest. Every day it becomes stronger. Every day its roots grow deeper. It does not announce its growth. It does not seek praise. Success. It simply continues developing until one day it stands taller and stronger than everything around it. Quiet power follows the same principle. It develops gradually. Success. It focuses on substance rather than appearance. It values progress over recognition. Many people become frustrated because they want immediate results. Success. They want instant success, instant respect, and instant influence. This desire often pushes them toward loud power because loud power produces quick reactions. Success. It creates immediate attention, but quick attention often fades just as quickly. Quiet power requires patience. It requires discipline. Success. It requires the willingness to keep improving even when nobody is applauding your efforts. The strongest individuals understand that real growth often happens in private. Success. Skills are developed when nobody is watching. Character is built during difficult moments that never appear on social media. Success. Confidence grows through overcoming challenges that only you fully understand. These private victories become the foundation of lasting success. While others focus on being seen, quiet individuals focus on becoming stronger. One of the reasons quiet power outlasts loud power is because it is built on consistency. Success. Anyone can appear confident for a day. Anyone can seem motivated for a week. Anyone can create excitement for a moment. Success. But maintaining discipline year after year requires something deeper. It requires commitment. Quiet people understand that success is not determined by occasional effort. Success. It is determined by repeated action over time. This principle applies to every area of life. In relationships, loud promises may sound impressive, success, but consistent actions build trust. In business, bold claims may attract attention, but reliable performance creates credibility. In leadership, success. Dramatic speeches may inspire people temporarily, but steady guidance earns lasting respect. The world often celebrates dramatic moments, success, but true success is usually built through small, consistent actions repeated over long periods of time. Another weakness of loud power is that it often creates resistance. Success. People become skeptical of those who constantly seek attention. They question motives. They wonder whether the person is more interested in appearances than substance. Success. Quiet power avoids this problem because it allows results to speak first. Instead of telling people how capable they are, quiet individuals demonstrate it through action. Success. Instead of demanding respect, they earn it through behavior. There is something incredibly powerful about a person who does not need to prove themselves. Success. They enter a room without seeking validation. They work without needing constant recognition. They remain focused even when others doubt them. Success. Their confidence comes from knowing who they are rather than from convincing others of their worth. Success. This type of confidence is difficult to shake because it is rooted in self-belief rather than public opinion. Success. History repeatedly shows that the people who achieve lasting success are often those who stayed committed long after others lost interest. Success. They were willing to do the work when nobody cared. They continued learning when others stopped growing. They remained disciplined when others became distracted. Success. Their strength was not built through moments of excitement. It was built through years of consistency. Quiet power also creates resilience. Success. When your confidence depends on attention, criticism can easily weaken you. But when your confidence comes from your values, habits, and personal growth, success. Outside opinions lose much of their influence. You become harder to discourage because your motivation comes from within. Success. You become harder to distract because your focus remains on your purpose rather than on public approval. Success. The silent person eventually understands a truth that changes everything. The goal is not to be the loudest voice. The goal is not to dominate every conversation. Success. The goal is not to make everyone notice you. The goal is to become so strong, so disciplined, success, and so consistent that your actions create an impact that words alone never could. Success. Quiet power endures because it is built on foundations that do not disappear when attention fades. It grows through patience, strengthens through discipline, success, and becomes unstoppable through consistency. Long after loud voices have been forgotten, the influence of quiet power continues to shape lives, create opportunities, success, inspire respect, and leave a legacy that speaks for itself.